Welcome to A Connection is a Connection, the show where we take a break from business talk and dive into the personal side of things. Today we're sitting down with our guest Melissa to uncover the stories, quirks, and passions that may make her tick. Let's have some fun and get to know her like never before. First, give a warm welcome to our guest Melissa. Woo! We are here to keep it light and fun, so let's jump to some questions. But first, can you give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Yes, my name is Melissa June. And June is my great-grandmother's name. Myrtle June is who I was named after. And I feel like when I introduce myself now, I could just hear her voice in my head. Like, Melissa June. So I honored the matriarch after my divorce and went after my grandmother's name.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Awesome. We're so excited to have you. Let's hop into some questions.
Okay.
Okay, Melissa, you ready?
I am ready. I'm a little nervous.
Nothing to be
No. What's a personal goal you're working towards that you've never shared publicly?
It's genuinely every day amplifying my own voice and being a little bit more real and raw and like pushing the envelope a little bit more every day, making myself a little uncomfortable.
Yes.
For sure.
Nice. What's the worst outfit you've ever worn in public?
I feel like, the worst outfit, there's so many, but like the worst are also the best. Like I remember back in the day, constantly matching my jellies with like my shorts that matched with my
gosh.
It was always alternating. Like my jellies always matched my shorts and my socks always matched my shirt.
Oh.
And like I always had some sort of coordinating headband.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
that was the vibe. So they were the worst outfits, but they were genuinely.
It was great.
I really appreciate the intentionality behind every outfit. It was like there were no accidents. It was all like tailored and curated with precision.
Oh. What has been your biggest blessing?
I know it's crazy to say this, but I think my biggest blessing was my cancer.
Really?
I can see that.
Yeah.
Cancer is really what stopped me in my tracks and made it impossible for me to avoid what was happening in my life. It made it impossible to not see where I was so unhappy or unfulfilled, where I finally saw my whole life. I mean, when I was first diagnosed, all I saw was my funeral for like 2 weeks straight. And while some people are like, that's horrible, I'm like, no, it was actually the most life-changing, mind-altering moment because it really did force me to not only face my own mortality, like how much is every day really worth, but also looking around and realizing what bullshit like my life was. And so many of my relationships. I kept thinking of all the stories that wouldn't be told at my funeral and what a shame that was because they were probably the best stories. But they were aspects of me that maybe somebody wouldn't want to out, or embarrassing stories of me that maybe people wouldn't want to tell to incriminate themselves. And it's when I realized that wearing all these different hats is actually what made me so full of shit. And that if I didn't start like eradicating all of these roles and responsibilities I was playing in other people's lives, that I was going to continue to live a bullshit life. No matter how fun it was or seemingly, big it was, it just felt like bullshit. So the cancer really did force me to see it and sit in it and then ultimately to change it.
Wow.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's the worst tan you've ever had?
I've had many terrible tans, which is honestly such a blessing because it means that I'm out in the sun, right? That I'm like experiencing things. And I can't decide if my worst one is the one that I did before prom that wore off on my dress in front of everybody.
Oh, no.
And was like orange and did not match the shade of blue, which was also icing on the cake for being 17 and pregnant. So like you needed a terrible tan and an ugly prom dress to go along with it. But otherwise, I would love to say more of the bad tans came from the days that I wasn't expecting to be out all day, and it just got like the farmer's tan, or the, you know, that day when you like leave for coffee. I don't know if you've ever done this, but it's like to leave for coffee one day and then come back 2 days later because the wind just kept blowing you into a different direction.
Yeah, for sure.
To me, it's like those are the days. Like back when I had a convertible, you know, and I was just in the car all day. It was like, yeah, a lot of miles went into creating those nasty tans.
Oh,
Yeah,
you had some adventures.
lots of adventures for sure.
If you could relive a day of your life, which one would it be and why?
This question really almost stops me in my tracks, because on one side I would love to say the day that I had my oldest daughter, you know, was the day that I feel like I woke up as a woman. And granted, I was young. I was 18 years old when I had my oldest daughter. And being a teenage mom is just a different world. You know, you're like living in a world where you almost feel like you're outside of at the same time. So having her, though, really shifted my perspective from like just being footloose and fancy free to like, I have a responsibility on this planet. You know, and the day that I got diagnosed with cancer, she's the first person that I thought of. You know, so many of my moments were shaped that day that I became a mother. And because I became a mother at the same time as I really became an adult, you know, on this planet, I feel like it's been an identity that I have both run from and toward at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, never quite feeling like I was good enough to be a mom, but also knowing that being a mom is my greatest purpose.
Yes.
And not even just in a way that it's like based on they're achieving something, which in the beginning it was like, you know, what could my daughter become because of the way that I'm raising her? But was like such an egocentric perspective. But once it shifted around to like, I get a front row seat as I'm watching these actual humans that came out of my body grow and develop and become like actual humans outside of me.
Yes.
And that's such a profound thing. So I would say the day that I had my daughter.
Oh, that's so sweet.
What's a personal goal you're working towards that you've never shared publicly?
I want to elevate every single woman on this planet. And I know that sounds like I want to make a difference and I'm here to support women and my mission is to support women, but my mission is really to support women. For every single woman to feel empowered and rightfully enough in her own skin, right? For her to feel so proud and to have such high standards for how she's going to be treated and respected, like personally and professionally. Like my mission truly is to elevate every woman on this planet, because I think by doing that, it also elevates every man, you know? And I think that the more value we instill in every single woman on this planet, the more our whole world can elevate. We're so powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
So we have a special question that we ask every single one of our guests.
What are you doing for God?
Oh, empowering every single woman on this planet to be their core authentic selves, to like be wild and free, and that wild nature that we were born to embody truly is what creates progress in this world. And what the Lord's work now really is empowering and supporting and connecting with others in a real authentic way. Truly the Lord's work is to unconditionally love another, and that starts with unconditionally loving ourselves. And so that's what I'm doing for God. All of these women that come into my studio and my office and my life, it's like, that's, you know, how can we build each other up?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Did you start that because you felt called to it?
did I start this work?
Mhm.
Yes, I couldn't not do this work after I was diagnosed with cancer, because literally not doing it was killing me. I feel like cancer was such a strong messenger for me, showing me what was wrong with my life and how I was what was wrong with my life. And by hosting all of these events that were just empty, they had no purpose, that to really connect with all of these people, but with an agenda in mind, right? Like that this was part of my construct, or the intention was around doing business with one another and not about connecting, right? And just being and celebrating each other. It was like when I was diagnosed with cancer, I couldn't do anything that didn't have a deeper purpose or meaning to it. My body was having a visceral reaction to it. It was like, not that, not that, not that, definitely no, definitely no.
Wow.
And I just started eliminating everything from my life that didn't feel right or aligned. And it was really scary at first, because in so many ways I was burning down my whole life. Everything that I had spent my whole life to create, my business, my family, my marriage, the businesses that I had with my marriage, it was totally destabilizing everything by burning it down. But I felt like in my core that if I didn't start shifting the way that I was sharing my energy with other people and why, and what I was building and for what, I physically couldn't do it anymore. My whole body was like, that whole body no. It was like a whole body no. My body would get sick. I mean, when I first got diagnosed with cancer, I was like hell-bent and determined that it wasn't going to slow me down. I was going to make it to every meeting. I wasn't going to be sick. I mean, and I did. I was on every flight. I didn't miss one trip. I planned conferences. I went to conferences with my drain still attached. Was just adamant that it wasn't going to slow me down, until literally after my 3rd round of chemo, I got a massive blood clot in my jugular. I was diagnosed with COVID right going into my the OR. And I was now in a hospital bed for a week straight in isolation, couldn't talk to anybody, couldn't watch any movies. I don't even, I'm a terrible movie person anyway, but it was like literally forced to be in these 4 walls with nothing but myself to stare at. And it was like, what the hell are you gonna do with this life? And it removed everything else from me. I couldn't travel, I couldn't go work, I couldn't distract myself with anything. And it was just that feeling in my gut to become just hyper aware of what it was that lit me up and what it was that broke me down. And if I was going to be in this raw state, I somehow had this visceral awareness that what I was going to rebuild myself and my body with had to have meaning. It really did have to have purpose.
Wow, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Have you ever disliked a gift from someone that was given to you?
Yes, because it was definitely an afterthought. Have you ever gotten those gifts where it was this is an obligatory gift, either because it's so obviously a re-give, or it's just not at all me and you just literally went out to find something? And to me, the reason why gifts are so special, it's the least popular love language, because it makes you sound like such a superficial human when you say gifts are my love language. But gifts are my love language, because you have to really know somebody. And the gift doesn't have to be fancy. Honestly, ordering my coffee for me and knowing how I take it.
Oh, there you go.
That
To
means
know
a
me,
lot.
it means a lot.
Yeah.
To take me to dinner and know what I would love. To a thought can be how you spend time with me. It can be the way that you send me a message in the morning. The gifts that really are so special are the ones where somebody knows you.
Yeah.
They've heard you, they've seen you. And in my world where I've just prided myself in the ability to disappear into the behind the scenes, now I think that I'm so honored when somebody really sees me and hears me and then does something about it.
Yeah.
And buys me something special.
Yeah.
Not yeah.
Yeah.
Like it came from the heart,
Yeah.
not
Shoot.
just whatever.
Even like washing the dish or sweeping the floor or anything.
Anything. It's like, I remember back in the day, my ex-husband and I had this solid system. We considered a solid system where when I saw something that I liked, I would put it in an email to him, and then in the title of the email would be the $sign. So when he wanted to buy a gift, he would go to the emails and it was like whatever had the $sign of whatever he wanted to spend would be in it. That sounds like a solid system, but really what happened then for 13 years, I can only think of 2 things he ever really bought me out of his own like regard that he went and picked out. So even though we had a solid system where I got everything I wanted, we didn't really create a system that allowed him to express love to me in a really genuine way.
Yeah.
And that, I'll never do that again, because I will take 0 gifts over the obligatory gifts.
For sure, yeah. What is a secret fear that you have that you've never admitted to anyone until now?
Not being enough. I have like big goals, big dreams, big visions that it's like, fuck, what if I can't? What if I don't have enough time? What if I can't figure it out? What if I'm not smart enough to work smarter? Like, I don't know. It's those insecurities where when you're guiding through a path that you're not totally in charge of. You know, there's a big piece of my realization, which was maybe I didn't know what I wanted. Maybe I didn't know how to do God's work. Maybe I didn't know what my true purpose was. And maybe I'm so limiting around how I'm creating it and manufacturing it and then setting a vision around it that I'm inherently limiting myself and my own reality because of it. So there's so much vulnerability in just like, what's the biggest I could be? But then when you ask that question, it's like, how publicly am I willing to fail?
Yeah.
How out loud am I willing to let my like downfalls become?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're willing to like live out loud in front of people,
Mhm.
which is what today's age is asking us to. It's not about filling physical arenas, although that's great too. It's about filling the virtual arena,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and sharing a message with people that like really does make our day better or our lives better or more purposeful and all that. But a big part of that means that you're like exposing yourself,
Yeah.
and you know, in ways that people are going to judge you and you're gonna fall short,
Yes.
and you can't control the levels of vulnerability when you amplify yourself.
You just gotta ignore whatever going on.
You just gotta live your truth. Like, to me, it's leading with love. And if I can lead everything that I do with love, and every collaboration is with love, and every connection is with love, and it's not about opportunity, and it's not about money, and it's not about influence.
Absolutely.
It's about inspiration.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's about real connection.
Mhm.
And how can I amplify your mission? How can I be a part of your journey in a way that elevates you and, you know, creates like the greatest possible outcome? I heard once, you never waste an opportunity to make somebody's day. And to me, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Sure.
But of course, then it inversely challenges you. Like, every day, what are you doing it all for? Because if it's out of ego, you will sink in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if it's about impact, how vulnerable are you willing to be in order to inspire somebody with your testimony?
Yes.
Like, how raw are you willing to let that testimony get?
For sure. Yeah. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten, and did you enjoy it?
I am the first person to try something on a
Really?
trip. Yeah. And I love not knowing what it is. Like,
Oh,
there's a
Lord.
piece of me that doesn't want to know in the beginning, and then I want to find out after, and that's definitely, I mean, like,
That's the way to go.
something
Yes.
as simple as like, I love crickets.
Uh-huh.
I love them. They're like a sweet and salty situation.
Really?
They're amazing. And paired with like a little mezcal and like raw grapefruit,
Okay.
it's a magical combination.
I've never heard of that.
The cricket chips, they're
I'm
good.
telling you, they're
Yeah.
amazing. Like a little dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Come on. Get out of here.
Okay,
Like,
that's not like really weird though. I feel like everyone in Arizona has tried like
Something.
Yeah,
Something
I
like
don't
that.
feel
Some
like
critter.
Yeah.
you're right. I don't think that crickets are rare to try. I think they're rare to admit to, that you enjoy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like I would actually prefer them, not to be shocking, but just because they're
You're
fantastic.
probably the only person that'll say that.
Yeah.
What makes you happy?
Oh, connection. Real, like raw, authentic connection makes me happy. And riding my grandfather's 1977 Schwinn Suburban.
Nice.
Permit green.
Okay.
I take her everywhere, and she's my favorite.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's impossible not to be happy
Sure.
Yeah,
on this bicycle.
for sure. What's a small miracle that others might not believe? Or that you've experienced that others might not believe?
That we get to literally co-create in our own reality. It's to wake up and realize that you get to wake up and know that that really is a blessing. And I know that we say that, but to like really wake up with the magnitude of the miracle that existed in order for you to physically wake up and take a breath and be safe in your own body is such a blessing every single day, truly.
It truly is. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you could walk about in the world looking at everything that just grows and exists, like just cuz, or if you can like look up at night and you see all the stars and you're reminded that you are on a floating rock in the middle of a galaxy that has no gravity. Like it's what?
Yeah.
It's like the magnitude of the miracles that we live in every single day and the synchronicities. Every day it's my favorite to see the synchronicities. You know, somebody that we've crossed paths and, you know, for 2 seconds that 20 years later, you know, manifested into a conversation here on the couch, right? Like
Yeah.
knowing that over my 41 years of life, just the people that I've connected with is just a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Like
For sure, yeah.
that we were in the same place at the same time and paused long enough to know something about each other is really magnificent.
Truly is.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, awesome. That is it for our questions.
Love that.
Melissa, thank you so much for just taking the time out of your day to spend it with us. Can you give us a 30-second commercial of what you do and how people can connect with you?
Yes, people can connect with me at my website, meljune.com. I am all things women empowerment, women in business, women in their personal lives, women in their financial lives. I host and curate events and retreats that focus on the empowerment of women. And I work in production, so content curation for women in business, again, to help them amplify their mission, their voices, and their livelihood.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been so much fun having you today, and stay tuned for the next interview.